Hey everyone, this is Kurt Franken with Leading Saints, and you may not know this, but I wrote a book. That's right. It's called Is God Disappointed in Me? Removing Shame from a Gospel of Grace. And it has been so well received. So many people buying multiple copies, sharing it. And these principles in this book are crucial to not only process for yourself, but also to share with others. I wrote this book for the overwhelmed Latter-day Saint, the person who just feels like they're never doing enough, or God must be disappointed in them because I keep falling short. But there is so much more grace in this gospel. And so I truly encourage you to check out Is God Disappointed in Me? Available on Amazon and other church bookstores. Give it a read, because in this book, I want you to understand the true nature of God, His loving capacity, why we must focus on the past wounding in our life in order to receive His healing, the power of the divine identity He has given you. This gospel is so redemptive because it leads us to Jesus Christ. So go check out Is God Disappointed in Me? Removing Shame from a Gospel of Grace. Hey everyone, in this How I Lead interview, we're headed to Brandon, Florida, which is a suburb to Tampa, Florida. And we talk with Sierra Larson, who is, man, the list goes on. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a returned missionary. She is a soon-to-be chaplain in the Air Force. She's a therapist and a phenomenal child of God. Just so fun to be and experience the energy of Sierra. That stake is lucky to have her as a Stake Relief Society president. She's a former Ward Relief Society president and just has some phenomenal principles, stories, moments of ministering that will just touch your heart. Listen for the girls' night she threw for somebody that was in a physical therapy rehab center. Just so sweet, so touching, where she was literally washing her feet. I mean, talk about leadership, right? This is one of those How I Lead interviews that I live for. I think you will definitely appreciate it, and send it on to your Ward and Stake Relief Society president. I think they will appreciate it. So here's my interview with Sierra Larson. All right, Sierra Larson from Tampa, Florida. Welcome to the Leading Saints podcast.
Hi, thank you.
And you were just talking before, you love it in Tampa, so you'd recommend it?
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite place ever.
Nice. And how long have you been in the Tampa area then?
About 2.5 years. Yeah.
Cool. And you're there because both you and your husband are in the military, and so which leads to just a lot of moving, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we're actually both reservists. And so my husband, he is in the Air Force, he is a Marine, and I'm in the Air Force. So he is here stationed in Tampa for a little bit.
Oh, great. And did you meet after you both had entered the military? Or?
No, he's been in about 17 years. We met at the YSA in Chicago, actually.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah.
Nice. So, I mean, what was that conversation like when you decided on the Air Force? Was he trying to coax you over to the Marines, or?
No, definitely not. He knew that I always wanted to join the Air Force. It was actually pretty funny. It's kind of a funny story, and he really appreciates this story, so I'll definitely tell
Good.
it.
Let's do that.
But it was during COVID, and I had been thinking about joining the Air Force. I originally wanted to be a therapist for the Air Force, a social worker. So I had been thinking about it, but I wasn't sure. And it was during like COVID, and we were doing like this like fun like sparring thing. Like he was teaching me some of his Marine moves and things like that. And he taught me how to do like a arm bar, like a choke out.
Oh, wow.
He taught me
Okay.
so I like kind of slid in, and I did one, and I got him to tap out, and I was like, oh, I just tapped out a Marine. I can definitely be in the Air Force. And so we went right to the recruiter that day.
I love it.
And signed
That's
up.
great.
So yeah,
That's awesome. And you're currently the Stake Relief Society president, which we'll
I am.
talk about, but you're also in the process of becoming a chaplain in the Air Force. Is that right?
Yes. So I was in the chaplain candidate program, got everything done for that, and now just waiting on my promotion. So excited
Nice.
about that.
So help us understand the dynamics of being a chaplain in the military. Like, is that something you always wanted to do? Are there benefits to it? Or is it just more of like a spiritual urge that kind of led you that way?
For me, it was really just a spiritual urge. It was actually, so like I said, I started out wanting to do therapy to be a social worker. There's a huge need in the military community with mental health. And I definitely knew that I wanted to be a part of that and helping in that area. I didn't know what a billet was. So that's basically just like how many jobs are available. So there weren't any social work billets, and so but I still felt compelled, like I need to do this. I need to do this. So I looked up just different jobs that I could do that were like mental health field or related, and I came across chaplain. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but I would really want to be endorsed by the church. And I don't think I could do that. It's probably a priesthood thing. Like, okay, no
Mm.
problem. And the spirit just was like, look into it, look into it. And I was like, oh, well, okay. So I looked and they changed it 2 months before I looked. They had
Oh, wow.
changed it. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Jenna Carson. She had an article.
Yes.
Yeah. So her,
We actually communicated for a while, and it then fell through the cracks. So I need to
oh,
follow up with her again to get her back
yeah.
on,
Jenna's
get
so
her on the podcast.
cool. She's so cool. She's
That's
a good
awesome.
friend. But yeah, she was a big part of that of allowing women to like pushing to allow women to um, be chaplains. And so I was just gonna oh, okay, whatever, but she just really worked really hard on that. And so now I was like, oh, great. And so I called the military relations office and I found out I had to go back to school. So I had to go get another master's.
Oh, wow.
So that was fun. But no, it really was fun. It was a great experience. Um, and yeah, and I joined the chaplain candidate program for the Air Force, and I've been doing that, and it was an amazing experience. I got great hands-on experience. I've done a couple tours and great leadership experience as far as spiritual leadership and ministering and just building so many skills that helped me, and callings and other things in life. So it's been a really great process. Yeah.
And is there a way to summarize just like once you're a chaplain, like the day-to-day responsibilities? Does it change depending on where you're stationed, or what's that like?
Yeah, it depends on where you're stationed. It also depends on where you are. So you could be embedded in a unit, and you would do, and that looks a little bit differently than if you were at a chapel. If you're at a chapel, you would do some of the stuff that in the chapel, like. Trying to think, it depends on the day. It's such a cool position because it's like you're going to do something different every day, but you can participate in like religious services, making sure facilitating for groups to get together to meet. You can do like Bible studies, seminaries. You would be in charge of funerals, making sure those happen, and then also weddings, holidays. And then a lot of like resiliency events and things to build up the service members, and then counselings. So a lot of that is counselings, which the cool thing, which I didn't know before getting into the chaplain candidate program, but the cool thing about being a chaplain versus being like a mental health therapist in the military is that chaplains have 100% confidentiality, whereas as a therapist you have to report certain things, but as a chaplain you don't have that requirement. You have absolutely like 100% privileged communication. So when a service member comes in, they can feel free and comfortable to talk to you about anything they need to, and that is really really useful, especially in the military. There can be kind of a stigma with a lot of mental health issues, and so being able to go in and know that like they can say whatever they want without it affecting their career is important, and allows a lot of access to be able to help these service members.
Yeah. So yeah, it really is more clergy than counselor, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. But you have your therapy background that probably just adds to all that, right?
It does. It's really nice. It's nice to be able to use both. Yeah.
Nice. So let's pivot maybe towards your calling as a relief study president. I mean, and you're a mom and a wife, and I mean, you're just in a busy stage of life. Does it feel that way?
Yeah, it definitely feels busy, but I've also felt blessed in that I've been able to balance it all with, I think it's just divine intervention.
Yeah,
I've been able to balance everything. So, but definitely very busy. Yeah.
that's great. Maybe so you've been the stake relief study president for about 6 months now, but before that you were a ward relief study president. How long were you the ward relief study president?
So I got called, I went on my first tour in January of 2023. I went on a tour, and as soon as I got back, they waited till I got back and then they called me. So that would be February of 23. And so I served as the Ward Relief Society president from like February of 2023 to November of 2023. And then I got called to be the Stake Relief Society president.
Awesome. And are these roles that you feel generally comfortable in? I mean, nobody really feels fully comfortable, but did you just like take it in stride, or did it blindside you, or were you nervous about it?
I was definitely nervous. Go both, I think, going into it. The I would um yeah, definitely the first when I got called to be Ward Relief Society president, the bishop had asked to like come to our house and talk to us, and I told my husband, I was just like, wouldn't it be funny if I got called to be a Relief Society president? Because we knew that like, we needed one. They were redoing it, and like just as a joke. I said, "Oh, that would be funny." And then he called, and I couldn't answer because I was just laughing so hard. I was like, "I think I jinxed myself, but that's okay."
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then I really felt like I was like, okay, I got this. Like I figured it out. Like I'm really excited. Like it took a little bit, but like I'm good on the learning curve. I'm excited to get my goals, tackled and everything. And then I got called to be the Stake Relief Society president. I was
Oh my
like,
goodness.
okay.
Just keeps going,
Yeah.
right?
But,
New shift.
but it was really awesome because one of the things the after I got called to be the Ward Relief Society president, then I couldn't sleep the whole night. I got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just started praying for a vision. I said, Heavenly Father, like I need. If you want me to lead, I'll lead, but I need to know where I'm leading. I need to know where we're going. What do you want? What are we doing? Um, and I just sat down and I wrote down this vision statement of what I wanted for the, Brandon State, or not Brandon State, sorry, my ward at the time. And um, I just wrote down this like incredible vision statement, and I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And so I just kind of focused on that. And I remember reading it and being like, I really feel like this is for the stake. That should have been my second clue. But I was like, man, I really feel like this could, like, the whole stake could do this, could be in this place. And then I got called to be the Stake Relief Society president. It's like, oh, okay, so this was for the stake. And I worked with our stake president on it, and he approved it and everything. And it was really in line with what he envisioned for the stake. And so yeah, so that's what we're kind of working towards, and we're getting. I think it's been announced, so I think I can say this because it's been announced
Okay.
publicly. But we're getting the Tampa Temple in our stake, and it's like right up the street from my house. Like I can walk
Oh,
there.
wow.
So just really focused on preparing, for the temple and focusing on Christ and the temple, and then
Yeah,
getting where we need
sure.
to be. So yeah, really excited.
Yeah. And I love that step. It seems like, I don't know, maybe it seems obvious to so many, but when you get called in these roles, you want to make sure that you get the handbook out and you read that through, make sure you're covering all your bases, right? But just to take this moment of almost like surrender of saying, all right, like what's your vision, God? Like, what do you want me to do? And I'm willing to listen and start from there. And that's just, I feel like, a good, powerful step many could learn from.
Yeah, definitely. It's helped me have a focus and helped me also communicate like what we all need to do and why. Why are we doing our ministering? Okay, well, here it is. Why are we serving? Why are we helping? Why are we doing all of these things? Like, this is why. And it's been really powerful, and to see all of these women joining together for a common purpose and goal. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything else as far as just like walking into these callings, as far as you did to prepare or see some early progress, whether that's on the ward level or the stake level? Anything else coming to mind?
Like you said, combing through the handbook was huge.
Yeah,
Seek revelation and read the handbook, right? Like,
it.
those two things,
Solid.
for sure. I definitely approached it in a very systematic way. I read the handbook, and then I created, templates and things to make sure that I was covering all my bases, focusing on, a lot of the responsibilities that I, had to focus on, especially with the change from bishops having to focus more on the youth, and a lot of the other responsibilities being divided up between the Relief Society president and the Elders Quorum president, making sure that we were able to support the bishop in that way as much as we could. And um, so I think that part of it, just figuring out what we're supposed to do and make sure we're doing it. We're focused on it, and we're doing it in the right way, in the Lord's way. And above all else, seek revelation and do what Heavenly Father tells you to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And tell me just about the makeup of your ward or your stake. Is it like obviously a military ward or military stake, or are you just one of a minority of military families?
There are probably two other military families in my ward. There might be a few peppered around, but Tampa usually gets more of the military since we're in Brandon. So we're in the kind of the suburbs. But the we have 7 wards and 1 Spanish branch that just became a branch. So that has been really awesome, to work with them. They just got a new Relief Society president who's amazing, and just working with her, which has been really cool because I served a Spanish speaking mission. I served in Santiago in the DR. And so being able to kind of brush off my rusty Spanish and use that has been awesome too. So it's a great area. Everyone's amazing, and the wards are just amazing,
Yeah.
all of them.
Nice. And how would you describe just your week to week approach to it? Because maybe there's this pressure of like visiting different wards, maybe, or do you have a routine? How do you use your counselors in that?
Yeah. Oh, can I just say my counselors huh,
You
are
got them, huh?
Oh my goodness. One thing that I've just have noticed and I've loved is understanding my own like strengths and weaknesses, and seeing the Lord make up for those weaknesses through my counselors, and using them and their talents in a way that just can like covers all the bases. And it's just been so amazing and productive to see how we all just work together as this like really cohesive team. And I love them. I could sit here and talk about my counselors all day long, but I definitely just I trust them so much, and they're amazing women, and they're not much older than me, but they're a little older than me, so they guide me, and it's been nice to just have their wisdom too, and just listen. And they've been really respectful and listen to me even though I'm younger, but they are just like, it's just amazing. So I just wanted to say that because I love them so much.
Cool. Give them a shout out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So each of my two counselors and our secretary, we have 8 wards and branches that we work with. So we each have a Relief Society sister that we directly minister to, and then we also have just trainings with just the Relief Society. President sometimes, of just checking in and supporting. It's been really cool to move from being a Relief Society ward Relief Society president to the stake Relief Society president, because there was a time where our stake Relief Society president had moved. So we had about, I want to say, 4 months without one. And so knowing kind of the need and the support that they needed was helpful, because then I knew what I would need and how I the connection that I needed to the stake, and being able to provide that and really just minister to these women that are giving everything every day, as and some really with um, to these wards, and are facing a lot of really hard challenges within the ward and their own lives, and it's just been amazing to minister to them. So I have two. We have two like mainly Spanish speaking Relief Society presidents, so I have them, and then we split up the rest, and so we minister to them monthly, go to their house and see what they need, answer any questions, and just try to support them. And then we also have some training meetings, and then we have this really big conference that I'm so excited about coming up in November, and have some amazing speakers. I think I can say it. She agreed, so hopefully she'll be there.
Okay.
But do you know Portia Louder? She has this book called Living Louder.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna shout out Portia because she's amazing. She has this book called Living Louder. She just wrote another book called Born to Be Brave. I think. Sorry Portia if I didn't get that right. But she's coming to speak, I think virtually, because it's she's gonna speak virtually in November, and then we're gonna have some other speakers. Jenna's gonna come, and it's gonna be really amazing. And so it's just like so many things that are just so awesome and exciting that I'm excited to do.
So I'm curious with this conference, is this like just a women's conference for your stake? Is that
Mhm.
the idea?
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
Stake Relief
awesome.
Society conference, so
Nice.
yeah.
And you're just gonna have a bunch of different speakers, and the ladies can come and just learn and benefit.
Yeah, so part of having a vision, I also have three values that I really wanted to focus on. The first is authenticity and vulnerability. I think that's a really big part of leading, but I think it's a part of church, like being at church, and just not pretending like everything's okay. And I try to model that. I just try and say, you know what, this is something I'm struggling with, and this is how the gospel helps me with it. And I think that model really helps us utilize the gospel of Jesus Christ to help one another in our struggles, because we're all struggling with something and there's no use in pretending we're not. So we might as well just, talk about it and build each other up. So, um, she's going to talk about that, and how, and how Jesus Christ helps us with our struggles and our trials in our life. Our stake president, his wife, is going to help, or is going to come in and talk about inclusion and being really inclusive in the church, and just loving everybody, loving God and loving people. And how do we do that when we have differences? And um, just being welcoming and loving to everyone, which everyone does. It's going to be preaching to the choir. Everyone does that so well. It's just so nice. Everyone is just great friends. But just what does Christ teach us about that? And what does Christ teach us about inclusion? And then Jenna's going to come in and talk about the I wish I had the topics memorized, but also women and just their strength and the ability and power that they have to do the Lord's work, and how they can draw on the power of heaven to accomplish the work of the Lord. And she is just amazing, and I know she has so many insights on that as well. So I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I'm so excited about it. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants to come to Tampa for this, like, come on
Okay.
down.
That's awesome. And those are just fun things, right? To organize something that hopefully will benefit so many, that's related to your calling, and hopefully you're going to bless the lives of so many sisters in that part of the world. So that's cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Um, Anything else? Any other ideas or things you've done as a really study president that maybe is out of the normal, that from the that's a unique idea?
So a unique idea. When I first got called, it's kind of weird, but when I first got called, we were trying to. I had been on order, so they were doing like ward conferences and things, and they were like, "We got a new Release Society president, or Stake Release Society president, but no one's seen her." Like, everyone's like, "Where is she?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm on orders. Like, I'll be back, I promise." So I really wanted to do something and just get all of the presidents, the Ward Relief Society presidents, together. But I didn't want it to be formal. I didn't want it to be a formal meeting. So one thing we did was we made the Relief Society room at the stake a like kind of like a living room. my first counselor, Sister Staley, is an amazing just decorator and caterer, and so she like made it so cozy and it was so cute. And then we had like a PJ party, but it wasn't like a sleepover or anything, but it was just everybody showed up in like comfy clothes and pajamas and blankets and had pizza, and we like some of us sat on the floor, some of us sat on the couches and stuff, and we played games and chat, and we just got to chat, and it was really good. It was really good way to like get to know everybody and make sure that we were able to minister to them and just to be kind of more personable. I didn't want to come in and be like, oh, I'm a steak release. I just wanted to just say hi,
Yeah.
see what's going on. And we definitely talked about a lot of things that they were going through and got to build that relationship really well. So that's kind of unique, I think.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
love that. And no dresses, no pantsuits, like we're just showing up and whatever's comfortable
Yeah.
and connecting, right?
I think
That's cool.
it's all about connecting, making sure that we're here to build up one another and focus on Jesus.
Well, you sent me a handful of leadership principles that maybe have helped you in your service. And the first one is lead yourself to Christ and rely on Him to accomplish His work. Maybe expound on that.
Sure. I think the first thing is, um, are you doing the things that you want to help others do? Are you praying? Are you reading your scriptures? What's your relationship with Jesus Christ like, right? Like, in focusing on that and strengthening that as best as you can, and making sure that um, you're keeping your covenants. Like, let's start there. Like, keep your covenants and have a covenantal relationship with Jesus Christ. I love that. And making sure that you have that connection, and then from there asking, what would you have me do today? Who needs me? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And involving him in every step of the way. I think that's a temptation of mine, really, is to just like charge ahead, right? I just want to go and
Oh
do
yeah,
it. Like, I have this idea, I'm gonna go and do it. Which is great, but I have learned that I need to check in and say, okay, Lord, wait, like, are we good? We want to do this, or we want to do something else, making sure I'm seeking that revelation before I just like go and do.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. No, I'm the same way for sure because you get excited about things, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's easy to just jump on it and go. So next one is be a servant leader. How do you?
Yeah.
You've sort of already talked about that a little bit, but how else do you do that?
Um, I just want to make sure that I am paying attention to the needs. Like, if I see it or if someone mentions it and there's something that I can do, I'm gonna do it. Like, don't tell me you're sick and not expect me like to show up with soup one day, like, because I probably will. Like, and just creating the habit of acting on those things. A story. It was really powerful. I got to be careful about the story because it's a little sensitive for the person, but there was an accident, and this person, she was in the hospital for a while, and then she was in like a rehab, physical therapy rehab. And so the biggest thing, everybody was bringing food and doing all of these things, which was wonderful. I just kind of noticed that she was alone, like in this hospital and bored. And I was like, it'd be really fun to do a girls' night, like get a couple sisters and go over and do face masks and snacks and, paint nails and, just
Uh-huh.
something fun and just to lift our spirits. So we did that. But
Like at the hospital
at the
or at
the
rehab
rehab center,
facility? Oh
yeah.
wow,
And so
that's cool. Yeah.
I like, you should have seen me coming in with like bags of stuff. They're like, "Are you moving in?" No, just having a girls' night. So we come and we're doing that, and I go to paint her nails, and she had like the surgical residue on her feet, and so I got these gloves and I got like these wipes, and I'm like literally washing her feet so I could like
Oh
paint her
wow.
nails and stuff. And it was just such a powerful moment of like, what an amazing opportunity to be like Christ in that. Like, I mean, it's kind of weird otherwise, but it was just like such a cool opportunity to like, like wash feet. And like, that sounds weird. Sorry, if that's weird. But
Yeah, in 2024, you typically don't wash other people's
you
feet, but
don't. Yeah.
talk about Christ-like,
Yeah,
that's
it was
awesome.
just such an amazing opportunity, and I was just like so grateful to have the opportunity to just like like do something that was so literally Christ-like. And not to be like, oh yeah, I got to do it, but like it was just how I try and live, like how I try and serve is in that way, and in the way and do the things that I think that the Lord would do. And so I think serving others in that way, and making sure that I'm never too big for that. Like I'm never too big to wash someone's feet. I'm never too big to take out the trash after an activity. I'm not like, oh, I'm the Relief Society president. I don't have to take out the trash. Now, if my husband's there, he might do it for me. But if
Yeah.
not, like I'm lugging it to the dumpster. Like I never in military, like if I have airmen, that are the enlisted that are taking out trash, like I'm gonna help. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna help bring stuff to the dumpster because I'm not like I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to serve whomever who needs it, and making sure that like I'm humble enough to be able to go and do those things. And I'm not. And anytime I'm like, oh, well, they can do it. I'm like, nope, nope. Be humble. Like, go get it. Go take out the trash. Because that's, I think, where we can, the way that we can continue to fight that pride instinct, right? That pride temptation of like, okay, we're here to serve. And it's not about us, it's about the Lord. It's about his work. If we need to get down in the dirt, we need to get down in the dirt. And
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and just that personal touch of having a girls' night at the rehab center is that's powerful. That just a little bit out of the ordinary, right? Like, sure, we can all visit, and that's great. And sometimes that's all we have to give, right? We're just like, I can stop by, but when you do have it to just give a little bit more and make it really special, that's awesome. That's inspiring for sure. Um, you talked earlier on about that moment of being called and seeking a vision from God, like what do you want me to do in this role, and that was related to your third principle, is have an inspired vision and plan. Anything else that you would add to that principle?
Yeah, I think not only having it, but being reminded of it. Was I was at the mall. This is kind of a silly story, but I was at the mall with all three of my kids, and my kids my kids are wonderful. They're wonderful children, but they're children and they wander. And it was hadn't planned on going to the mall that day, so I didn't have all the stuff like the strollers and things that would keep them contained. So I was trying to keep these children contained. And it was such like a parable in my mind. I like saw the parable as it was happening of all of the flashy and shiny things that were coming, and I needed to get them from point A to point B, and they were getting distracted because there were toys and merry-go-rounds and cotton candy and all of these things at the mall. And I told my son, I'm like, do you see that store right there? Do you see that like red with the red sign? He's like, yeah. And I said, you got to look at it and you don't take your eyes off of it until you get there. Just walk straight towards it. And I'm like, and that was the only way we could get there. And I think that's kind of a parallel or metaphor for us of where do we want to go. And we can get so distracted and in this life, but we need to focus on where we want to be, like, and keep your eyes on it and don't look away. And so with a vision of where do we want the stake to be, or the women in the stake to be, and where do we want to be personally, we want to live with our heavenly father again, right? So focus on that and don't look away, don't turn away, focus on Christ, don't get distracted, put those blinders on. I think is such an amazing way to look at it, because um there's so much that will distract you, right? There's so much that will deceive and distract, and um, but if we just focus on Christ and just don't stop till we get there, I think we'll be okay. So, um, just just focusing on that and reminding ourselves where we want to be consistently, I think helps us to get there.
Yeah, so powerful. I love that. Well, this has been so insightful and encouraging, and I love these principles. I love the stories, and I think a lot of people will benefit from this for sure. So, last question I have for you is: as you reflect on your time as a stake relief study president, award relief study president, how has being a leader helped you become a better follower of Jesus Christ?
I think because of my first principle of, leading yourself to Christ, I never want anyone to look at me and say, well, Sister Larson's doing that, so it must be okay. So making sure that I am strictly obedient, making sure that I am careful about everything that I say and do, and my input, movies I watch, music I listen to, everything. I'm very careful about that, because I never like if I'm doing it, then it needs to be something that's okay to do, or at least I really am doing this thinking that it is okay, and not something that I know is wrong, and that people are watching and thinking it's okay to do if it's not. So I'm very, very careful about that, and making sure that I am very strict about the things that I allow into my life, in that way, and that has helped me personally follow Jesus Christ more, because I'm very, very focused on keeping my connection and developing that relationship, and feeling the Spirit as strongly as I possibly can, because I rely on that. Um, I've had so many just sacred experiences where I am just praying for people, and these sisters, and not even just sisters. Like, I've had really amazing experiences where I'm doing hospice work, and as a, in chaplaincy, and as a Relief Society president, just doing a lot of hospice work where I am just praying for people as they pass through the veil, and just feeling close to Christ, and close to his Spirit, and feeling um, the ability to have that heavenly power to minister to others is so important. And is I rely on that, and I rely on that to be able to minister in a way that is strong and is powerful, and have the faith to see these miracles happen for these people in their lives. And I can't jeopardize that with disobedience. So knowing that I'm in this position to serve and administer in that way, that's a sacred trust, and I try to be worthy of that.